So the railroad crisis is back on, all right? The freight crisis is back. We thought this problem was solved last month. There was a victory lap that came out, and it was like we came to a deal. This is it. We saved the, economy pretty much because freight accounts for a massive percentage of the movement, especially freight trains. And now the railroad strike is back on, all right? It's back. And this hits at the perfect time, all right? Right at harvest time, right at holiday time, right at the biggest spending time of the year, Thanksgiving and Christmas. People buying tons of food, tons of goods. The supply chain is normally booming at this time of the year. And right as this is happening, the railroads are being shut down again. All right. So this is a huge development. We thought this problem was solved, but one of the unions have come out and voted that they are not going along with this deal that they have made. All right. And these deals that the one thing that they're most worried about is paid sick time off and being able to, not have it be such a burden if they need to take off. And they're saying, especially the past 2 years, that was a big problem for them, apparently. All right, that's what they're saying. I'm paraphrasing, but that's their main gripe. And one of the railroad unions are not going along. All right, and they all have to agree, or else they go on strike. All right, so this is crazy how all these strikes are happening at the same time. France is having a massive oil refinery strike, and they're having massive oil shortages. They're asking people not to put gas inside containers. All right, you can't put gasoline inside containers in France. It's illegal right now. You can only put it in your car, and they're asking people to not hoard. Just get what you need right now in the moment. All right, don't even fill up your tank. Just get what you need right now. So massive strikes are happening in France as well, shutting down oil production. I think it said around 60% of the oil production in France is shut down from these strikes right now. So massive strikes are happening all over the world, and they're affecting Western countries' massive infrastructure, right? And freight accounts for a massive percentage of the freight trains account for a massive percentage of the U.S. freight movement, okay? It's estimated it's around a third of all the freight movement. So essentially all the shipping containers, that's pretty much what they're talking about, essentially, and shipping carts, a third of it is moved by train. So if the trains went offline, then what would happen, all right? A third of all the production would be shut down, all right? And this is hitting as harvest time is hitting. Massive amounts of the grain is put into grain carts on railways, okay? Massive amounts of it is transported by railway. And lots of places up north have had their harvest, but lots of places down south have not had their harvest yet. They're just now harvesting, and they could be hit hard by this. I was talking about how Florida just got hit hard by the hurricane, okay? And all over Lake Wales, all over the orange groves, they have, orange carts all over being transported by massive semi-trucks that are just giant carts just stacked to the top with oranges, and oranges are just like falling out every turn. There's a couple oranges, and all over Lake Wales and these grove areas, there's just like oranges on the ground on the side of the highway because there's so many oranges stacked in these grain carts, all right, are stacked in these orange carts. And a lot of these oranges are also transported by train. All right, this is how it is with grains. Tons of different crops are transported by the rail system. All right, things like iron ore, okay? All of our ore, things like toxic waste, toxic things that cannot be driven. Certain materials cannot be driven on the railways, and that could be shut down too, all right? Things like cars. Tons of cars are transported on the railways. Tons of steel, all right? Tons of very heavy building materials, industrial building materials are transported. Steel plates are transported by railway because they're so heavy and so wide that they cannot fit on the typical, whatever it is, 13-foot wide lane. It's really not that wide. Or maybe it's 8 feet, or I think it's 13 feet wide is the lane, a typical car lane. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong on that. I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head, but the point is, there's tons of things that need transported that are industrialized that cannot be moved on the roads, all right? So they need to be moved on the railways. So what happens when these shut down, all right? And I think it moves around a third of all the U.S. exports as well, all right? So all of our exports will be shut down as well because massive amount of our exports are things like grain, steel, cars, things like that, big, heavy items that need to be transported by train. Not to mention the national security aspects of it for the military, all right? So we've seen videos recently of giant tanks, giant military equipment moving around on the railway system. At least I've seen it. I remember a few months ago, 6 months ago now, there were tons of videos from North America, US and Canada of massive movements of military NATO equipment. That's what it was allegedly, moving on these railways, and it was happening all over. And even now, places like Russia and everything, they are moving their military equipment around on railways, all right? So if these shut down, this is also a national security risk as well. And there's things that Congress and the president could do. They could step in and stop these strikes, but it's also one of these things that they want to make a deal, and if it just looks bad either way. If they force them to do it, it looks bad, and if they don't make a deal, it looks bad. So they need to just make a deal, and this is right before November as well. So they need to make this happen. Hopefully this doesn't go through, but the one union is now denying. They were saying before that they were going to accept the terms, but once they officially voted, they just voted, I believe on Monday, that they are not going through, and now the strikes are back on. All right, so they have a couple more weeks to make a deal before they officially go on strike. So I will keep you guys updated. Please let me know what you think about this situation. Are these strikes coordinated? I know that people do have real issues. I know that there are real problems going on, but at the same time, it's very suspicious how all these strikes hit at the same time. There's nursing strikes. Amazon has massive strikes. There's just all these strikes going on that are shutting down massive amounts of infrastructure right now as well. So let me know what you think about it, all right? Let me know, are you a rail worker? What do you think about this one union denying it? Do you think they should have accepted it? Do you think they should have denied it? Let me know what you guys think, and you guys have a big old blessed day.